Good afternoon. Today is Monday, the 12th of May, 2025, just after 1 o'clock. Welcome to UK Column News. I'm your host, Brian Gerrish. Delighted to have Ben Rubin with me in the studio. And we're joined by Diane Rasmussen-McCaddy via live link. And we're also very, very pleased to have a guest with us for today's news. Now, I'd just like to say weather over the weekend, just complete contrast. We had some really lovely sunny weather. The government wasn't too happy about that, so there were a few warnings, which we'll cover later in the news. And then that was followed in Plymouth, at least, by a downpour. But we've survived, amazingly. So the news today, we're going to get on to hot topics, and the key topic is immigration, now known by the BBC as migration, but that must be just a change of emphasis by the BBC. But I'd like to say to the audience, the UK column is absolutely going to stay on target with the change agenda. We believe that if we're to make any progress through politics, we have to understand what's really going on and who is driving it. Now, last Monday's news, I focused on Keir Starmer. Let's get him back up on screen. And the key bit here is that, of course, what Labour is doing, what Keir Starmer is doing, is talking about change. We've seen this through the Tories as well, but it's the change agenda which is doing the destruction in UK. Repeated change effectively equals revolution. And I put up this diagram on screen saying that we needed to stay abreast of the fact that we've got UK locked into a 100-year pact with Ukraine. We've no idea really what this means or what people are involved or what their political opinions are or indeed their morality. We're locked into a memorandum of understanding with Israel. Then we've got the EU still in the background, which clearly we've never left, Brexit without the exit. And Keir Starmer had talked about preferring Davos to Westminster. Now, if I just add in one more section to bring us up to date, of course, the big thing in the news over the weekend and today in particular is immigration. And I had a little banner last Monday, and I'm going to put that banner up again and say, will reform actually grip these issues? Now, they're in a good place because of the success in the local elections. We know a lot of people worked very, very hard. So there are opportunities, but there are also threats. And the key threat, as far as the column is concerned, is will the leadership of reform grip the realities about what's driving politics? Now, here's the hot topic of migration, and let's just have a look at Yvette Cooper, if we can pop that one up on screen, please. So here she is on the BBC, and she's talking about dealing with migration, immigration, but she says it's time to end care worker recruitment from abroad. So suddenly we've gone from rubber boats to the big problem of care workers. Let's have a listen and a look at what she said.
Well, what we're doing is it's a fundamental shift in the approach to say that the immigration system should be properly linked to skills and training here in the UK. What you saw on that chart was really this failed free market experiment with which the Conservatives replaced free movement, where employers were effectively encouraged to recruit from wherever they wanted to, including they actually had a 20% discount on wages if they recruited from overseas rather than training here in the UK. Well, that is a broken approach, and that's why we saw overseas recruitment saw training being cut. We're switching that round and now saying we'll bring in new visa controls, particularly on the lower skilled migration, to bring that down, and also new requirements for workforce strategies, for training commitments, and for that better working to get people who are not working back into the labour market here in the UK.
So I think many people might listen to that clip and say a lot of waffle. What is she really talking about? And of course, the reality is that Yvette Cooper dare not talk about the reality of what's going on. The figures, or the latest figures, 728,000 net immigration into UK ending June, in the year ending June 2024. So this is a massive figure. Ukraine has been a big part of that extraordinary figure. But if we put one of the diagrams from the government itself on screen here, the thing I want to emphasize for people is that small boat arrivals at 37,000, this is a drop in the ocean. And the whole time that everybody focuses on the boats, what they are not doing is focusing on the reality of how this system works, with people pouring into the country on all sorts of study and work visas. And of course, many of them taking jobs away from people who are already living in UK. If we have a look at some of the forms of visas, this is another graph here. Study visas, over 400,000. Work visas, about 370,000. Then we have families. These are the massive, massive figures of people coming into the country. So I just highlight those two top ones. And then on top of this, if we get in and have a look a bit more of the breakdown here. Apologies, I've lost the logo of the source of this. We'll correct that in the show notes. But this is applications for health and care visas and study visas in the year ending December 2022 to November 2024. And down at the bottom of your screen, you can see health and care. That's in the purple and the blue line, which are peaking at over 250,000 and then dropping to over 100,000. Now, something that's not talked about, although it does emerge in the figures, is that we have the International Labour Organization at work. And if you've never heard of them, well, you need to know about them because they're doing an amazing job, in inverted commas. Let's have a listen to this video clip.
In 2022, the number of international migrants reached almost 285 million. Of these, nearly 168 million were actively contributing to the labor force. This means that international migrants play a crucial role in the global economy. In 2022, they made up almost 5% of the total labor force. Most were living in high-income countries. The regions hosting the majority of migrants in the labor force were in Northern, Southern, and Western Europe, Northern America, and the Arab states. So, what are these migrant workers doing? Most employed international migrants were in the services sector. The sector accounts for more than 80% of employed migrant women. In particular, the care economy benefits from international migrants in the labor force, especially women migrants. Almost 1 in 3 of employed women migrants are in care jobs, compared to 1 in 5 of non-migrant women. Learn more about the realities and challenges of migrant workers. Check out the latest ILO Global Migration Report.
So when we look at UK statistics, we automatically start to see the International Labour Organization at work in its production of statistics, and huge figures globally. This is some of their stats. Migrants, 255.7 million worldwide, with 167.7 million in the labour force worldwide. Then we can take a quick look at the peaks here. So the peaks are in Northern America and also into Northern and Southern and Western Europe, with 23% for Europe. But this is the key point. The UK is working in partnership with this organisation, so there should be no surprises that UK is continuing to keep this migration running. And this routine has been going since 1919, if we have a look at the chronology from the International Labour Organization itself. There are penalties to what's happening. This is the Nursing Times from 2007, where it was admitting that patients were very upset by not being able to understand what nurses and doctors were saying around them. And this is going back to 2011, where Theresa May was having to admit that there were problems in integration, and this was causing difficulties, including with security. So she said, we'll do more than any other government before us to promote integration. The agenda is not stopping migration and immigration. The agenda is to facilitate it. And this is very clear across all three parties. And at which point we say, is it party politics that's driving the agenda, or are we dealing with something deeper? And at that point, I'd like to